Infiniti wants to simplify the naming of its model range. Now everything is called Q. Unless it's an SUV, then it's called a QX. Now these two cars used to be called Gs. Now they're Q50s. The white one is a diesel and the blue one is a hybrid.
If you see any differences other than alloy wheel design and signs saying hybrid diesel, let me know in the comments below. In the hybrid, the boot has 400 liters, which is 100 liters less than in the diesel version. But in both cars, boots have irregular shape, which makes them difficult to use. Inside, the main difference is the Eco mode in the hybrid and the resulting additional items on the onboard computer screen. In the back, it's very average, and there's a freaking tunnel going through here.
The hybrid is also an all-wheel drive. It's not an expensive option, it costs around 2,500 euros extra, but that's not the most interesting part of this car. The most interesting part of this car is the direct adaptive steering. It sounds serious, and it is serious because there is no steering column. My driving inputs from the steering wheel are passed on to the front wheels in the form of electrical impulses. It's a drive-by-wire system. We'll get back to that in a couple of minutes when we get out on the road. Now, thanks to editing magic, we go back a few weeks. This is January, and I'm driving an Infiniti Q50 with a 2.2 liter diesel. This is the premium spec. It's mid-spec. It costs about 40,000 euros. It's got 170 horsepower. The manufacturer claims it'll do 5 liters of diesel per 100 kilometers in combined cycle. Well, I guess 5 liters is more realistic in extra-urban cycle. In the urban cycle, I'm getting somewhere between 9 and 10 liters per 100 kilometers. Time from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is 8.5 seconds, and if I wanted to show off with this car, I would complain about the 7-speed automatic transmission, because it takes ages for it to kick down in normal mode. Probably I press the accelerator and next day I get a kick down, and in sports mode it still takes several hours. But that's not important. I think what's more important is the infotainment system in this car. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, they all have their infotainment systems, and they're pretty old. And even if they are starting to introduce some touch functions, they still hold on to their knobs. No pun intended. There's usually one screen, one knob, and a couple of buttons. Here I have 2 screens. Both of them are actually touch displays, and I have my sat-nav display at all times, and I can fiddle around with the other options on the lower screen. So I can call someone, I can check my Facebook, my email. It's all here. Integration with the smartphone on the Infiniti Q50 is top-notch. Really. And you know, there is a high degree of customization, so I can set what I want to see here, what I want to see here, and at first it might feel a bit overwhelming, but after a few days you get used to it, and I think this is one of the best, if not the best, infotainment system on the market at this moment. This is January 2014. So if you want a car with really great smartphone integration, Infiniti delivers the goods. And now we take a leap month forward, and I'm in a hybrid Q50, which costs almost 54,000 euros. This car also has a 7-speed automatic, and it also uses between 9 and 10 liters per 100 kilometers. However, this is petrol, not diesel, and this time this is what the manufacturer really claims, and I am able to achieve this figure. And that's even despite the petrol V6 engine under the bonnet. The hybrid Q50 has 364 horsepower and 546 Nm of torque. Even in eco mode, it's fast and flexible, and it makes this pleasant growl. But not only under heavy acceleration, you can get this really cool sound also when the car wakes up from EV mode and the petrol engine kicks in. None of this whining like in the Lexus IS 300h. And now the most interesting part, which is the direct adaptive steering. Depending on the mode or personal settings, the steering can be more or less responsive, it can be lighter, heavier, and depending on the speed, also the steering ratio varies. So when parking, you have 2 turns, lock to lock.
Unfortunately, the turning circle is huge, so in tight spots you'll have to do a lot of turning back and forth anyway. Good news though, there are 4 cameras and clever parking sensors.
So how does it feel to drive a car that's got a cable instead of a steering column? Under normal circumstances, I don't feel much of a difference. The sharpness of the steering becomes more apparent in the sports mode, or when I make a couple of quick maneuvers, quick turns, even in eco or standard mode. The steering becomes heavier and quicker, as if the system goes into high alert mode. It's strange, but you can get used to it.
Compared to the Lexus IS, Infiniti Q50 is more sporty. It's no BMW, but somewhere in between. The seats are comfortable and the interior is elegant, although not as extravagant as in the Lexus, but I feel ergonomics are better in the Infiniti.
If I were to complain about something, it would be the forward emergency braking system. It's part of the safety shield, which also includes adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring, collision mitigating system, the lot. It's all well and good, but the forward emergency braking system likes to brake automatically a long way before I would. It's very irritating. It's irritating to a point that I actually switch the safety shield off when driving in the city. And then there's the boot. Today I won't complain about lack of hooks. By the way, there aren't any in here. I will complain about the sound. It sounds like a Peugeot 301. With prices starting at around 35,000 euros, Infiniti could have done better. Out of these 2 cars, I would choose the hybrid. It's more dynamic, it's more refined, and it's more quiet than the diesel. Compared to the Lexus IS, I would choose the Q50 any day. BMW 3 Series, yeah, I'd probably go for that. I'm still waiting to drive the new Mercedes C-Class. You will see a review of this car on this channel soon, so don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. You can also watch my other reviews by clicking here.